Hey there, and welcome to my lazy review of the new film Evil Dead Rise, which is the fifth installment in the Evil Dead franchise. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, when this was first announced and I seen the first trailer, I wouldn't say I'm pessimistic, but I wasn't as excited since the whole incident happened with Bruce Campbell and the cancellation of Ash vs. Evil Dead. I wasn't mad at Stars or anybody, but ratings are what they are, and piracy was an issue. And after Stars canceled it, Bruce was like, you know what, guys, I've been doing this shit since Evil Dead came out in 1981, which was the year I was born, and I'm thinking myself that, fuck, I'm old.
Ripley from Alien 3.
Fuck, you're old.
But Bruce Campbell came out and he said, you know, it's time for me to retire. The man's pushing 70, and the character of Ash Williams is a very physical character, and he's like, it's time for me to move on and pass the torch. So he is producing this film, as well as Sam Raimi, as well as Rob Taper, who's been producing since the first Evil Dead film. And Bruce, the past month, has been going on interviews, promotional tours, doing screenings, and he has been endorsing this film. And, you know, seeing the first trailer, I'd say cautiously optimistic, because people tend to forget that the very first Evil Dead film is, by all counts, a horror film. There's not any comedy. Then, of course, when Evil Dead 2 came out, then, of course, Army of Darkness, they changed it to more comedy slash horror. This is straight up a fucking horror film. And I'm like, all right, cool. So, in the same vein of Renfield and the Pope's Exorcist, I got some more of this. We're doing some Christian Brothers and some Sprite Zero.
Holy water?
Is this a worthy entry in the Evil Dead franchise? We're about to find out and talk about it. But first, let's try this. Ready? Pretty good.
It tastes so good.
Okay, so Evil Dead Rise. How do I feel about it? Should you see it? Is this worth your time checking this movie out? I want to talk about it, but beforehand, I have an intro that I want you to enjoy. You ready? Pretty good, Christian Brothers. Okay, so what is the plot of Evil Dead Rise? Well, I can tell you one thing. The opening 5 minutes, there is killing, there's blood, and there's gore, and I walked in like, okay, holy shit.
Holy shit.
They set the tone very fast that, listen, this is not a fucking comedy, this is a horror film, and we're not here to fuck around. After a few people are killed, we're introduced to our main character, who is named Ellie. If you can see by the trailers, she's the demon mom that gets possessed and wants to kill everybody, but we'll get into that in a second. She's played by this actress named Alyssa Sutherland, and I'm looking at my phone because I'm a fucking idiot with names, and her sister comes into town to visit her. Her name is Beth, played by Lily Sullivan. Ellie has 3 children, and basically, she's living in this shitty apartment complex, and an earthquake happens. Her kids, you know, they're messing around, and they find this abandoned vault. They go down to the vault, and guess what they find? They find the Necronomicon, or the fucking Book of the Dead.
Necronomicon Ex Mortis. Roughly translated, Book of the Dead.
Now, after finding the goddamn undead book, the kids start playing some vinyl records, and guess what? The friggin' records have the spell to unleash the evil upon us, which happens in every Evil Dead movie. And now, this is where the plot gets pretty thin, but let's be honest, nobody ever watched an Evil Dead film for the very in-depth plot, because they don't need it, and neither does this film. As soon as the evil is unleashed, they do the very, as usual Evil Dead thing where you never see the evil, but the camera's zooming in and stuff, and it's going really fast. And then Ellie gets possessed. And right there, you're like, okay, oh shit.
Mom?
Mommy's with the maggots now.
As soon as Ellie's possessed by the fucking evil spirits, that's when the shit hits the fan, and that's when she goes into full demon mode. And you can see by the trailers the way that her eyes change with the excellent contacts, her mannerisms, and she damn sure is the star of the movie. And, this is like, unlike the Pope's Exorcist, the problem I had with that film was that, yes, this kid was possessed by this demon, but I never had the sense of fear and dread that Russell Crowe's character or the other characters in the movie were in danger. This is way fucking different, because besides Ellie's sister and her 3 children, there are other people in this apartment complex. And best believe when I say this mom is here to fucking just kick ass and chew bubblegum.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Best believe when I say nobody is safe, not even fucking children, and she will kill kids. And that's what makes this so scary, is that when you have a character that's possessed like this, it's the issue they deal with every Evil Dead film, that Much like the Joker who wants to watch the world burn, there is no reasoning, there's no rationale, there's no pleading with this thing. It just wants to fucking kill everybody. And it does have, like, you know, things that are like conducive to Evil Dead. You know, you'll get things like a shotgun, a chainsaw, maybe even a fun line of "come get some."
I understood that reference.
There's, you know, the whole Evil Dead franchise, the way Sam Raimi directs. I was looking up the director, someone named Lee Cronin, and even though Sam Raimi is a producer, it felt like certain scenes and certain sequences were shot by Sam Raimi. So I'm just assuming that Lee Cronin and everybody involved, obviously the producers, are very big fans of the Evil Dead franchise.
Best franchise ever.
The big question people have is, what happens not having Bruce Campbell there? As I said before, when you look at the very first Evil Dead film, the Evil Dead franchise is still a horror franchise. Take away Bruce Campbell and there's a ton of fucking horror. That's what this film is. You know, it's people are getting killed. There's eyeballs getting ripped out and thrown into people's mouths, and people are laughing sometimes by how over the top this is. But this whole sense of dread and danger and the whole sense of, oh shit, we're all gonna fucking die, it was damn sure there the entire film. And obviously some CGI gets used here and there, but I did respect the fact that how many practical effects were used. And something simple, you know, not a big spoiler, but they have one sequence where I was reading behind the scenes and these guys use like thousands of liters of corn syrup because two characters, they're inside an elevator and blood's rising and rising and rising and they're about to drown on just, you know, blood. But it's a practical effect and it's really cool and just really awesome the way they're doing that.
Yes, they work hard and they play hard.
There wasn't any jump scares, not one scene where, you know, something comes off the camera or jumps in your face, but the entire sequence, once Ellie gets possessed, is just one death after one death. And if people know by the Evil Dead franchise, these things they call these deadites, you may shoot them, they're going to keep coming. You can stab them, they're going to keep coming. You can even cut off a fucking head, cut off limbs, they're going to keep coming. And the only thing you can really do is...
We run really fucking fast.
The ending, I mean, I won't spoil it for anybody, but the ending, it leaves it open for possible sequels and possible more. My overall assessment for Evil Dead Rise is, yes, it does suck not having Bruce Campbell there, but the heart of Bruce Campbell is still there. But take this as a separate spin-off or maybe even sequel to the Evil Dead franchise. You're not going to see Ash, you're not going to see the usual, you know, Evil Dead mannerisms, but it still has enough Evil Dead in there where it does feel like a very worthy sequel. And that's my assessment. It is a fun time. I had a blast watching it. Truth be told, I'm looking forward to watching it again. I'm looking forward to buying it. And I'm telling you right now, I think if you're a fan of the Evil Dead franchise, this is a very worthy sequel to Evil Dead. So, cheers.
You've earned my respect.
Hats off to Evil Dead Rise. I think you should check this out whenever you get a chance, and you're going to have a goddamn bloody good time, okay? So, hope you like my review. I just was honest and said what I had to say. It was a good time, so I don't want to ramble. As always, I have to check my watch, get ready, edit this stuff for you, but then tell you about my wonderful job.
I hate my job!
One last time, hats off to this actress, Alyssa Sutherland, because goddamn, she carried this film and she was fucking awesome to watch. Let's grab Bender. You ready?
This calls for a drink.
Yeah, some good Christian Brothers after a goddamn good horror film. What else can you ask for? All right. So now I have to edit this stuff and then I have to, as always, head back to work.